Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we are going to be installing a couple of toolboxes. These are directly from Ventrac. We have the large toolbox. We also have the smaller toolbox. The big toolbox is actually going to be mounted towards the back. We're gonna see actually if we could mount it to the front like this. Here's the smaller box that actually mounts right here. But the problem that a lot of people face when they mount it like this, you run into the issue of it blocking your cup holder. As you can see, the Stanley cup gets jammed up. So what I'm going to show you in this whole video is how to install these toolboxes incorrectly, but at the same time, just making it work for you. So again, recap, in order for this toolbox to not cause you any problems with not being able to access your cup holder, instead of mounting it like this, which is the preferred method, we're actually going to mount it towards the outside. This will give you enough clearance for your water bottles, allowing you easy access to remove and place your water bottles. And when you order these toolboxes, the whole hardware kit will include the spacer, a couple U-bolts, fasteners, washers, and so on and so forth. Take that spacer and line it up with your toolbox mount. Then you're going to run the U-bolts from the outside, or from the inside out. Grab your nuts and just thread them on. 9/16 socket will tighten up all the nuts. But when you do tighten it up, make sure that this toolbox is where you want it to be. And what I mean by that is, since we're going this route, you can actually run it a lot lower, like here, and that won't be an issue. So let me show you the advantages and disadvantages of mounting it low versus mounting it high. Okay, so we got the toolbox mounted low. It is kind of touching this metal here, so be in mind, if you don't want the two metals to rub together from the vibrations of the machine and when mowing, when those two rub, they're going to break through the paint over time. I'd actually recommend bumping it up slightly if you're going this way. I won't install the bungee. There is a bungee that goes over the top here. But as you can see, you have pretty nice access right here to your box. And whichever way you throw your box in, the lid still opens. So there's no issues there, easy access. You're able to grab your drink freely and put it back on. And you even have access to the tray. This tray is for your phone and other accessories. You can run a charging cable, connect it, throw your phone in there, and let your phone charge. If you're worried about stick out, well, it looks like it does stick out past your inner wheel. If you're running duals, that shouldn't be an issue, but if you're running single wheel and you're barely squeezing through something, then the toolbox for you will be an issue. Let's mount it up as high as we can. We can't mount it here because of this rod. It won't allow us to open and close the toolbox. So yeah, I was right. It looks like the wheel is a little bit wider than the toolbox. I don't know about this tab though. This tab is sticking out. It's a very close call. Let's see how this is. So again, it does block my view, a good head size view of what's behind. Again, when you're moving, I don't know if that'll be a big difference maker, but at least now I'm able to see kind of what's near my tire. So if I'm going around a tight space, let's say like a retaining wall or a tree, I'm actually able to see where that tree stump is or pole or whatever I'm going around and seeing if I'm going to be able to smack it. Again, trade-offs, right? You can't necessarily win. You can't get the best of both worlds. With the toolbox mounted high, you're able to open the lid up this way. Let's test to see if you can open the lid up from here. And you are. There's nothing in the way of that. I personally like it this way. So I can reach in, grab a water bottle, grab some tools, grab snacks or whatever. This is probably gonna be my snack toolbox. Still able to grab my phone and charge it, whatever. And I have good clearance for a Stanley. I think this is a 40 ounce Stanley. Now that I've kind of showed you all of the options, showed you all of the pros and cons, it's up to you to decide how you want to mount your toolbox. But I'm gonna ride it high. There have been moments where I do mow around trees, tree stumps, fences. So I want to see where my tires are. And with the toolbox being low like that, I wouldn't be able to see that. So I'm just going to tighten these up. It's, I believe per manual, 31 foot-pounds or just hand tight. Now, since this toolbox sits a little loose, right? Flies out, it's not a tight fit. There's a bungee that's provided, and I would recommend you use it if you are mowing really bumpy, really uneven surfaces. The bungee is just gonna hook up to this tab here, and you have one more in the back. So again, same thing on this side. We're going to mount it two ways. One way is we're going to run it alongside our left arm or shoulder, but not super low to where we can't refuel it. And then the second mount, or the second way, is we're going to run it the way Ventrac recommends. So why even do it this way? Well, again, why not? We're just gonna see if it makes any sense at all. And that's why we do these things, folks. So that way you don't have to ask questions later. Hey, Phil, what if you mounted it next to you, or something like that? Well, clearly that won't work. And they say run it pretty low. So, I mean, we could run it there, but I personally don't want the U-bolt to, again, be chewing through the paint. So we'll run it a bit higher and then tighten them up. When I'm tightening up these nuts, I want to hold the toolbox mount up a bit, so that way it stays as parallel as possible to the ground. So that way when I throw my toolbox on, it's not all lopsided looking. Toolbox in. We have access to the lid. Perfect. Doesn't hit anything, doesn't hit the seat. And last but not least, our bungee cord. We also do have access to our heated seat option and our lumbar support. Yeah, unless you mounted, we went ahead and used the mounting holes that are farthest back. Our original seat was mounted to the holes that were the farthest forward. Now with it being this way, you're still able to run it with no issues. However, once you try to slide it back even farther, it's going to hit this toolbox. And there we go, simple enough. Got two toolboxes installed. We have our snack toolbox, and we also have toolbox for tools. And you honestly don't even need to get out of the seat in order to reach into this toolbox. You just have to remove the bungee, open the lid up, reach in here, grab a tool, go fix your machine, sit back down, put it back, close it up, bungee, and you're good to go, ready to continue your operation. So it's nice to be able to store things on your Ventrac. There are not hardly any compartments really to store anything aside from a cup holder to store your water bottle. But with pros, there are also cons. Again, the biggest con is view obstruction. So you're getting a head size obstruction here, and also near the back. Let's say you're plowing and you're trying to get up close to a fence. Well, you can't necessarily look to your left here and get a good view. You'd have to look to your right. Not a big problem, but it's there. I don't know how I feel about these bungees if I'm going to run them constantly. I wish there was a different system. Maybe we're able to run the bungees like this, but I don't think so. Yeah, that's just going to throw the toolbox to the back. I see it becoming a problem because maybe you're constantly in and out from your toolbox. You have to now do an additional step by removing the bungee and then and only then having access to your toolbox. I see that becoming an issue. And if you were to not install the bungee, I can see where this toolbox might actually, get tossed out. Same thing with the rear one. The con that I'm trying to present is how loose fitting this toolbox really is to the mount. I mean, they could have probably increased or decreased one of them to match and to give the toolbox I wouldn't even mind if I had to kind of squeeze the toolbox and push it in order to get it fit, but a better fitting would honestly be ideal here, and that's what they should have done from factory. But maybe there are reasons why they have to run it this way, but I think having to run the bungee does secure it a lot. but if we were able to create something to not have to have the bungee closing up the top lid, that would have been a lot better in my opinion. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I hope this was a help to anyone trying to install the toolboxes and trying to figure out different ways of installing them. Remember to always take your manuals and just throw them into the baggies. And I will also have the manuals provided at the end of this video. There's only one page on both of them, and this information will give you part numbers, serial number, ranges, pictures, torque specs, and so on and so forth. So if you want that information, I'm about to show you here in about 10 seconds. So thank you again so much for tuning in. Check out the playlist that I have linked in the description down below, where we install a bunch of other accessories on the Ventrac 4520n. Take care, God bless you, and we'll see you in the next one.